Okay, it's 3:05. Let's start today. Hi guys, welcome to the Efl finals. Before we start, I'd like to congratulate both teams for advancing thus far. So, on government, we have Lumos. In opposition, we have serendipity, and we're debating on the motion of this House to eliminate letter and number grading systems and replace them with a pass-fail grading system in schools. Before we start, a couple of announcements for the audience. First, refrain from over-excessive cheering or making noises during the speeches. Secondly, please enter or exit the venue, not during, but between the speeches. Thirdly, individual recording, photos, and videos are not allowed. Lastly, no communication with debaters, whether it be mouthing words or sign language, eye contact, signals, what have you. Yeah, so without further ado, I'd like to invite Prime Minister to introduce the topics.
Right now in the status quo, many students are having stress and pressure because of their scores and their grading system. That is why our stance is to make a better society by eliminating the letter and number grading system. And we have one policy, which is student score will be recorded and will be available to be seen when needed to the teachers. Now I'll go directly into our first argument. Our first argument is role of school. And the first analysis is education, and the education is made in school for the students, and school knows the best about the students' education, and because the students spend every day in the school with teachers, and school knows the best about the students, and the school role is to make a good and to give a good and better education environment to the students to study. And in that environment, the teachers in schools need to give hope and appraisal to the students so that they can take the tests and grades better. And the second analysis is why it is okay to take away the students' right to see the scores. And the students are okay to not see their number scores because it protects them from harms. When they know their numbering scores, they will be stressful, and by only 1 point, they can be depressed. When one number decreases, the student's self-esteem decreases as well. Some tries to end their lives, but when the numbers start to decrease fastly, and because of the pressure of those heavy numbers. And also, even if the pass-fail system makes some students upset, they won't get so depressed because they don't know their exact score, so that they don't know if the score is decreasing or increasing. And the second argument is about the benefit to the students. And the first analysis is to increase self-esteem, and the students get scores if the students get scores like 80 or 70, even if it is a pass score, they will have the guilt that they didn't get a good or perfect score, and will have their self-esteem to decrease. And if the students have low self-esteem and that they always think that they will get bad score, their score will absolutely decrease, and they will still be in the past, and their score will decrease, making bad self-esteem as well. And the second analysis is about the benefit to the student who passed, and when they get achievements, that is a good feeling to them, and they will not be compared, but they will be all passed, and the achievements will make them to try to stay in that pass grade, and they will get more motivation to do best and greater to get a greater score. So in other words, they will be more higher and greater as it is, and they will get more self-esteem, which they can have more achievements and more pass grades. And the third analysis is that the students benefit to the students who failed, and there is only the pass and fail grades in our world which government makes, and they will think that if they do a little bit more, then they will get passed. So they will try to do more to get good pass scores, and that when they pass with only 1 point, it will give them pass, and it will give them more satisfaction, because even if it is 1 score, they will get passed. Even if they don't get to go to the pass, it is a check and balance, as our DPM will going to say. So that is what our stance is, to make better society by eliminating number scores and letter grading. Thank you for your time and attention. Let's start.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the current status quo, we are using the system of the letter and number grading, but when grading students. But some people are trying to suddenly change the system of this effective and fair way of grading students, and they are trying to use a broad and general system of pass and fails. I, the leader of opposition of this debate, will rebut to the Prime Minister. And will present our side's first argument about the rule of meritocracy and about discrimination. And our team stands is to provide meritocracy and to prevent greater discrimination from happening. And before I move on to our side's argument, I'll present my rebuttals towards the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister said that the benefits to students who passed, and then that these students who have passed will feel better. But this isn't an exclusive benefit in their society, because students in our society can also feel achievement when they get a better grade. And they also mentioned that students are okay to not see the number, because they will not be pressured. Because they will be pressured if they see those numbers. But if students who are passing the test fails, then they will feel more stress and more pressure. So they should see these numbers when they do these tests. And now I'll move on to our side's first argument. Now, our team's first argument is about meritocracy, and I have 3 levels of analysis to explain this argument. Our team's first level of analysis is about the definition of meritocracy. And meritocracy is an important factor in a democratic society, and according to the rules of meritocracy, the students will be divided depending on their ability and the amount of effort they actually put, and their social status will also depend on their abilities. And secondly, our team's second level of analysis is about the benefits and importance of meritocracy. And firstly, meritocracy can give much more motivation to these students. Because meritocracy gives a detailed and having various stance of grade to these students. Students will feel that it isn't such big thing to reach their goal. For instance, when I used to get F in my grade, and when I set my goal to get D- on my test, subjectively, in my opinion, it might not feel that it is a high gap between F to D-, and this means that because people's opinion and view of grade and number is very subjective, so that if individuals set their mindset in the bright side, they can get a great motivation. And secondly, meritocracy can help better judgment, and since in a meritocratic society, the grades will be much more detailed, and then when these students later try to go to a certain company, the company can judge more directly whether the individual has a high intelligence on the company's solid standard, and can have more productive and talented people who can success in our society, and will make our society more productive. Lastly, I will prove to you why meritocracy will be only provided in our team society. In our society, the current status quo will be remained and will be kept, and the students will be graded and divided based on their ability and their efforts, and their social status will be also decided by the grades. Grades graded by the rule of meritocracy. While in the other society, the vague and broad grading system of passing and failing won't be able to provide motivation, because these students won't be able to set their goal accurately, since the passing and failing system is too broad and too vague, and also they won't be able to make an accurate judgment of students since this system is too broad and vague, and which will lead to a less productive society, And also, now I will present our team's second argument, and our team's second argument is about the discrimination and. It is about discrimination, and discrimination is a highlighted problem in our current society. And as school is a miniature version of the whole society. Discrimination is happening between students in the status quo, and one of the factors why this discrimination happens is about the students' performance and grades. And in the proposition team's case, discrimination will be worsened, and this is because if the system changes into a pass and fail grading system, the system itself was too extremely divided into two sides, and then students will be divided into two groups and promote more discrimination. Students who got pass will not harmonize with students who got fail, and on the other hand, in our team's case, less discrimination will be promoted compared to the proposition team's case. This is because in our team's case, many types of grade exists, so less discrimination will be promoted compared to the proposition team's case. Thank you for listening to my speech.
First marks, now let's fight the private.
So, Mr. Speaker, our stance is to make a better environment for the students to study. As the Deputy Prime Minister of Team Government, I will present our team's last argument, which is about check and balance, and present rebuttals towards the previous speaker. The previous speaker's first argument was about meritocracy, and they said there cannot be a meritocracy in the government team's society. However, as I will explain further in my argument, students will get more motivation, and there will have also a meritocracy in our society too, because for example, if a student gets failed, they will get more motivation because they will be able to think that there is not a big gap between the pass and fail. However, in their society, these students will actually know how much gap there is between the pass and fail, so it may just take the courage away from them even more. The Prime Minister, the Leader of Opposition, second argument was about discrimination, and the Leader of Opposition said that the discrimination will worsen in our society. However, Mr. Speaker, we do not think that discrimination will worsen in our society. In fact, we think that there will be more discrimination in the opposition team society, because in the opposition team society, these students actually know how good or how bad they did, and there will be more discrimination because students who really have a big gap between the average and their scores, there will be more discrimination that will go to them because the other students who did well will know how bad they did. However, in our society, there is only a pass and fail, so students have a chance of thinking that, that student failed that time. However, they have a small gap between the pass and fail, so they will have a high chance of passing next time. So let me move on to our team's last argument, which is about check and balance. As the Prime Minister said in the status quo, there are many students that are being pressured and stressed because of the current system. However, in my last argument, I will explain to you why there will be a natural check and balance. In the opposition team's case, they will not be able to save those stakeholders, the below average students, and the students who study very well. However, if we follow the rule in our teams that our team wants to make, we will be able to save those students, and now I'll explain to you why. Even if the students get a fail, they will be able to have motivation and hope, as I mentioned in my rebuttals. For example, if a below average student took a test and the passing score was 70, however, they got a score of 60. However, these students will lose hope because they know that they are below the passing line. They are below 10 points. However, if in our team's case, they will only know that they failed, and there is a high chance of thinking then that it was very close, and next time if they try a little bit more harder, they will be able to pass. Also, now I will explain how we would be able to save these students who have better grades in the current status quo. Even if these students have a good score already in the current status quo, they are always worried and stressed that they will receive a lower score next time and that they have to receive a better score to satisfy their parents and their teachers. However, our system can prevent those situations of students being stressed because these students can only know the pass and fail, and they will only know the pass and fail, and they will know that they passed and they did well. What we want to say with this argument is that even if these students are not able to know their scores, it will be a natural check and balance because they would be much less stress and discrimination, as I explained. Thank you for listening, and I am very proud of this.
For remarks, I'd like to invite Deputy Mayor Volunteer.
But in the current society, there's the government and the school is providing the students with number and letter grading system, and we believe that actually the system is very better than the pass and fail grading system in schools. And I'll prove this by making rebuttals and arguments against the government. And before I move on to our team's last argument, which is about the self-actualization, I'd like to rebut to the previous speaker. And the previous speaker argued that there will be a motivation in their side because students will think the gap between the pass and fail is very small. We believe that actually there will be an opposite situation because in our side, actually the students will feel more achievement if they enhance their grade and if they move to a better grade and the students will actually be easier to move to a better grade because in our side the gap between the better grade and their current grade is very small, but in the other society's grade, in the other society's policy, actually the students will feel less motivation because they do not know the exact score and they will only know they have failed, and they will do not know that whether they have a better score than other people. And so we believe that actually there will be a better motivation in our side. And the other side also talked about how actually there will be a discrimination in our society. We believe that actually the discrimination in their society will be actually bigger because as our honorable first speaker argued, in the other society actually there will be a completely divided society, and actually the students who pass will actually bully those students who do not pass. But we believe that because the gap between the higher grade and lower grade is small in our side, actually there will be a less discrimination and there will be less bullying in our society. And also the other team argued that students will have less motivation in our side because they know the gap between their score and the passing grade. So actually we believe that this fact will actually benefit the students to have a higher grade because the students will actually try to enhance their grade and enhance because those students know the gap between their score and passing grade. Actually, they will try to fill the gap between their score and passing grade, and therefore we believe that actually the other society will actually have lower motivation and actually have a more discrimination. And now moving on to our team's last argument, which is about the self-actualization. So one of the benefits of our side is that students can actually receive scores with a specific grade, and they can accurately judge themselves. And this is because students receive grade which is A to F, and those those grades which students receive are actually even divided into plus and minus. For example, in the A, there are A plus and A minus. And this actually greatly benefits the students because they can actually know the exact status and they can actually know the exact grade of themselves. But however, in the other society, every students who fit into the passing standard will only know that they passed, and even if their grade may differ between the students who passed, those students will not actually feel any difference. And also students who do not get the passing grade will actually only know that they failed, not the specific score. And the exclusive benefit of this, and the exclusive benefit of our side is that actually students can know the level of themselves, and therefore actually they will be able to get education which fits to themselves. For example, if there's a student who always get F, so this student will actually receive a design education for this student because this students know that he gets a F, and therefore we believe that actually in our society there will be a self-actualization, and therefore there will be a higher quality of education in our society, and therefore we believe that eliminating the letter and number grading system is very harmful, and therefore I'm proud to oppose today's solution.
Next speaker, Alice Spiker.
May I start? As a government whip, I like to review a few points presented by the opposition side and the clashes between the opposition and government side. And before I move on to our team's clashes, I like to rebut points presented by the opposition side. First of all, they have said that they have rebutted our teams that when there are the number of scores, they could feel better because they think they have the enhanced grades. However, this rebuttal truly fails because there could be bigger achievement when only 1 point increases. However, it won't really help them. Only 1 point increasing really doesn't matter to them. And also when they go up, they enhance their skills and move up to the passing score, they will have more achievement and have more happiness about that. Only 1 point and moving on to the fail to pass score is really different, and their happiness will be increasing too. And also, when we think in another way, when there are numbering scores and when their score decreases and they know the actual score that their score is decreasing, they might feel very depressed. However, even though they have decreasing score, when they remain in the passing score and they don't know their exact score, they will feel happy because they still remain in the passing score. So when they don't know the accurate score, it will help the students more. And also, and moving on to our team's first clash, the clash is about which side allows more benefits for students. And our team thinks that the government side have the more benefits to students because as our team's first argument, as our team's second argument, it could increase the self-esteem too. And however, the opposition side have said that there could be more the children could feel better because the children can feel achievement when they have a higher grades and exact grades by having number and scores. However, this totally doesn't make sense because on our team side, we think that if they don't know the exact score, they could have increase in self-esteem because because when they move on to the pass score, they will have more efficiency, and even though they remain in the failing score, they will try hard and they will know that I have tried my best. So even though I'm the fail score, they will feel happiness and they will feel achievement about how they started hard. And if they move on to the passing score, it will be very great. However, even though they still stay in the failing score, they will feel good when they try their best, and even though they don't know the exact score too. And also they have said that the number and score can be more direct for the company and have many productive things. However, as our policy, when there is a need, we can open the number scores to the companies or important institutions such as the education and problems too. And also they have said that the passing and fail process is very vague. However, even if it is vague, it have 50%. So even if it is so accurate, there could be less self-esteem too. And also moving on our team's second clash, the clash is about which side is able to make a better environment for education. And our teams think that our team has the better environment for education. The opposition side have said that the discrimination could increase. However, this doesn't really make sense because when there is a numbering score, it could make more and more discrimination because they could think that when someone gets 67 and someone gets 92, there could be a discrimination too. However, if the grades are just divided with the fail and pass, they don't know the exact score, so the discrimination will decrease too. And also the discrimination can decrease because even though they are the failing score, they don't know the exact score. So inside the failing score, there could not be the discrimination too. For all these reasons, we should win this debate.
May I begin? As the opposition side will on today's debate, today I'll present you two clashes, which is firstly, will pass-fail at grading be effective for students' education? And secondly, will government society be more beneficial for students? Well, to explain our first clash, will pass-fail grading be effective for students' education? The government side claimed that students will get stressed. Students will feel achievement and motivation because they mostly will get pass grade, and they only need to work a little bit more to get a point to get passed. However, that isn't true because in their side's case, the only stance which decides their score is whether they pass or fail, differently from our side. Well, for instance, in their side case, when the students pass the test, because they pass, they don't know whether they're the best in their class, they don't need to make more progression because they are already passed, and they don't really need to get higher score in their stance. However, when they fail, they because they don't know how much they should work more and more, they'll just get always stressed and don't really get more progression to achieve much more better score. And furthermore, the other team argued that the students will still feel happy even if their score decreased, but our side believe that it is the problem because they won't try harder, like I said before. And to explain our second clash, will government society be more beneficial for students? They claim that students will get stressed when they see the number of grades, which is much more exact in their case compared to pass-fail grades. However, Mr. Speaker, our side truly believe that it might get a little bit of stress for the students, but it will be much more effective and much more valuable enough for them, because they should know it to how to set more exact and detailed goal for them. No, and well, for instance, when they're in their side case, when the students fail, oh, my goal is passing, but when I pass, then I don't have to really work hard more, so I only need to pass this test, and they'll just think that and don't really work hard more, and they would only get stressed, and it would be also very meaningless, like I said before. And when they pass the test, then they don't really need to get more education, so that they don't know how they are doing well performing in their status, so that they will actually get more and more stressed, and they won't really work hard, and which isn't very valuable. And furthermore, in our side case, the discrimination will decrease much more than their side case, because gap between each score differs a lot in their case, since it is only divided to pass and fail. However, in our case, the gap between each score will differ very individual very much, since one people might think that F to D minus isn't a very, very big gap to my score, so that I can, even though I'm at F now, I can actually get D minus in our score, so that I can actually work more hard. And this mental, it will actually decrease the discrimination, because for students, they actually differ the group between whether they're passed or failed in their case. However, in our side case, because it is very subjective for students, they won't really group themselves, so that it will decrease discrimination much more. And actually, in our side case, we will also have better judgment, because the information that company gets is much more exact and detailed compared to other side case. Well, for instance, when the individual went to company to get a test with whether they go work for the company, the company can judge them by their exact score and make a stance whether the individual should be up than A minus, so that companies can judge it by much more exact score of the individual. However, in other side case, company will only pick people who pass the test, so that failed people can't really actually work for our society and be more progressive member in our society. That's the very big problem. And furthermore, in their side's case, the companies can't really decide in more exact and more rational way so that individuals only would get harmed. So in conclusion, what have I told you today? I gave you two classes, which is firstly, will pass-failing grade be effective for students' education? No. And secondly, will government-sized society be more beneficial for students? Definitely no. In conclusion, I'm very proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank the speaker, and now I'd like to invite opposition reply to conclude the case of opposition.
May I start? So, Madam Speaker, the proposition side is very irresponsible to today's motion. They fail to engage what practical benefits that they can achieve when they eliminate letter and number grading systems and replace with a pass and fail grading system. They only stated that the schools will do their own role and students will get high self-esteem and be encouraged. Also, they talked about natural check and balance will exist. They didn't claim any exclusive benefits and good things that they can achieve in their own case. However, our team achieved our team's practical goal, which is to prove why maintaining the status quo causes less negative externalities to all of these stakeholders. We engaged our burden by claiming the meritocracy society's importance in the current. Also, we stated that motivation will be altered more and less discrimination will be promoted compared to the size proposition. As the last speaker of Team Opposition, I will introduce one main point of today's debate and compare our worst case and the best case, and lastly to the world comparison. Now I'll introduce the first main point, which is about the school's role. The proposition team stated that the school's role is to provide good education to students and make students to have high self-esteem and be encouraged. It is true that the school's role is to make students educated and perform well and get a good grade. However, in their own society and role, they cannot do the school's role. This is because as young students are irrational and emotional and very sensitive, they possibly need a strong motivation to work hard and put more effort on their grades. To compare ours and in their case, no motivation will not exist because they don't know their exact score and grade. However, in our team's case, we can promote motivation because students can self-acknowledge themselves, score, and their situation. So in conclusion, in our team's case, schools can more beneficially educate students and make them to be a functioning member of the future society and make the society be more productive and beneficial to the whole world. Now I'll go on to compare our team's worst case and their best case. Our team's worst case is that students will still get the exact education even if they fail and feel unhappy and sad, and therefore they will eventually improve and develop. However, in their best case, even if their grade improves and develops, they will not know the fact they improved and therefore they won't feel any achievement and motivation. So therefore, we strongly believe that students in our society will try harder and put more effort. Now I will do the role comparison. Our team is creating a meritocracy society which talented individuals can easily contribute to develop the society. Also, in our team's role, students will put a lot of effort to get a higher grade and get motivation. Discrimination happening by scores and grades will be less compared to the proposition team society. However, the proposition team society is not productive and they won't be able to find any functioning members of the future society. So in the long term, our team's role will be very developed and improved by commercializing the meritocracy system. So Mr. and Madam Speaker, our team can achieve practical benefits by maintaining the status quo. Thank you for listening and I'm very proud to oppose. May I start?
Honorable Judge, and the government replies, today's debate under the motion, this House would eliminate letter and number grading system and replace them with a pass-fail grading system in school. In my speech, I'll explain our team's argument for the last time and explain why our team take this motion. Mr. Speaker, to explain our team's argument was first, it was the role of school. Honorable Judge, our premises says that the argument that the education happens in the school. The school knows about the students and the education is and they know that what education is needed by the students. The school role is to make good education environment to the school students to study. And in that environment, as our Prime Minister said, the teachers in the school will do and give hope and appeal to students. The second analysis about this argument was if of this way is it why is it okay to take away the students' right to see their scores?
two situations. That one is if they have the scores opened or not. The students will get less stress or pressure that they get from the score once it is the situation when we take away the students' right to see scores. We agree that students will be upset when they get fail, but they will feel better than getting exact lower number score, for example 55 or 50. The benefits to children. To explain our team's second argument that what Prime Minister presented was the benefit to students. The first analysis was increase in self-esteem. If they get passed, they will be less stressed they are thinking and regretting that they didn't get 100 when they get 80. If they get fail, they will feeling better than getting 50 and having stress of this actual number score. To analyze these, our team's last argument that the Deputy Prime Minister talked about was the natural check and balance, and I explained this argument between my previous speech by explaining first argument and second argument, but I'll explain for the last time very shortly. About the first analysis was they will be more satisfied and have a good self-esteem when they think there is not a lot of gap between pass and fail. Also, the Deputy Prime Minister said that they will not get stressed if they don't know how much their score increases and decreases in the range of this pass. Honorable Judge, these were our team's arguments that our team presented. Now I'll explain why our team wants this debate. Honorable Judge, to compare in two situations, that one situation with letter number score and grading system, and there will be less confidence and high stress because when they got 75, then after they got 88, 81, they will think that they are not good at studying because they didn't got 100. But when we are having pass and fail system, the student's confidence will get higher and the stress rate will get not higher and get less, because when we say that the pass sign is 80, for example, and the score is same as the before situation, it will be fail to the pass, and then the student will know that they are developed it. The Honorable Judge, this case is more effective for students. Also, they will work harder because when they keep getting fail, they will try harder and harder to get pass. When this trying hard will happen faster, because as the letter and number grading system will think the students who are below average thinks that they are always level B. They will try harder to change this fail to pass. Also, to explain more, when they upgrade, the score leads to stress, as they have said. It is so terrible, it could cause them to suicide and cause them decrease of self-esteem, and this is a contradiction. In conclusion, to pass this motion, it will make a better environment for the students to study. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I'm proud to propose.
Leaders, top score, shake hands. This concludes the Efl finals for the elementary school.